your body is covered in signals you never asked for and can't turn off. A blush. A scent. A voice that drops half an octave around someone you like. None of that is an accident. And none of it is modern. It's the leftover machinery of a mating system that ran for hundreds of thousands of years before anyone wrote a single love song. Ancient humans didn't swipe, didn't date, didn't propose, and yet they still had to solve the exact same problem every animal on Earth has to solve: who mates with whom and why. The answer they landed on is stranger than you'd think. Our bodies still carry the evidence, hidden in places you'd never expect, in the size of certain organs, in a smell you can't consciously detect, in a monthly secret your own body keeps from you. So what was ancient human mating actually like? Not the romance, the biology. Let's get into it. Start with the strangest fact first. Human females don't advertise ovulation. Nearly every other female mammal broadcasts fertility loudly. Swelling, scent, obvious visual signals that say unmistakably, now. Human ovulation is hidden, even from the woman herself, unless she's tracking it with a calendar or a test. Scientists call this concealed ovulation, and it's genuinely rare in the animal kingdom. Why would evolution hide the most important reproductive information a body has? One leading theory: it forced men to stick around all month, not just during a brief fertile window, because they could never be sure exactly when it mattered. Hidden fertility may have helped build something ancient humans desperately needed: a partner who stayed. So what were ancient humans actually attracted to, underneath the surface? Not random taste. Every cue we still respond to today. Symmetrical faces, clear skin, a strong jaw, a certain waist-to-hip ratio, is a rough, ancient proxy for one thing: health. A symmetrical face is harder to fake and harder to damage with parasites or poor development. Clear skin suggested no disease. These weren't conscious calculations. Ancient people simply felt a pull towards certain faces and bodies, without knowing why, because the ones who felt that pull had, generation after generation, healthier partners and more surviving children. Your type is a survival algorithm wearing the disguise of a feeling. Here's a stranger one. Ancient humans were almost certainly choosing partners partly by smell, and never knew it. Deep in your immune system sits a set of genes called the MHC complex, and remarkably, humans can unconsciously detect MHC differences in another person's scent. Studies show people tend to prefer the smell of partners with different immune genes from their own. Mate with someone immunologically different, and your children inherit a broader, stronger immune shield. Ancient humans had no concept of genetics, no idea what an immune system even was, and yet their noses were quietly running genetic compatibility tests with every person they got close to. Because pregnancy and childcare fell so much harder on women, the sexes evolved somewhat different mating strategies. A woman risked 9 months of pregnancy and years of intensive care for one child, so choosing carefully mattered enormously. She couldn't afford to bet on the wrong partner. A man could, in theory, father a child in minutes and walk away, so ancient male psychology evolved to be somewhat more casual about opportunity, while still competing hard for long-term partners worth investing in. This isn't a moral difference. It's basic biological math, playing out the exact same way in every human population ever studied. The same underlying asymmetry, just wearing different cultural clothes. Here's a genuinely wild piece of evidence, hiding in your own anatomy. Scientists can estimate how promiscuous a species' mating system was, purely from relative testes size. Species where females mate with multiple males in a short window evolve larger testes, built for sperm competition. More sperm, better odds. Species that are strictly monogamous need far less. Humans sit right in the middle, bigger than a strictly monogamous gorilla, smaller than a wildly promiscuous chimpanzee. Your own body carries the physical fingerprint of your ancestors' entire mating history, and the fingerprint says, mostly paired up, but not perfectly faithful. It's written into you. Contrary to the old cartoon, mate choice in ancient bands wasn't one-sided. In small, tightly bonded hunter-gatherer groups, women held real power over who they paired with. They were skilled providers, socially connected, and rarely powerless. A capable hunter still had to be chosen. Strength and status opened doors, but didn't guarantee entry. Meanwhile, men competed, sometimes subtly, sometimes openly, for the attention of the most sought-after partners, showing off skill, generosity, humor, reliability. Attraction ran both directions, constantly, in a dynamic far closer to modern dating than the drag-her-by-the-hair myth would ever suggest. So were ancient humans monogamous? The honest scientific answer: partially and imperfectly, which is exactly what the evidence above predicts. Long-term pair bonds were common and useful. Two parents raising a slow-developing, expensive human child beats one. But genetic studies of ancient and modern hunter-gatherer populations show clear signs of extra-pair mating too. Children fathered outside the primary bond, more often than strict monogamy would allow. Ancient mating wasn't a clean, single system. It was a flexible, opportunistic mix of pair bonding and occasional straying, tuned by circumstance, status, and no small amount of secrecy. When multiple men wanted the same partner, ancient bands couldn't afford constant violence. A small group can't survive if its men keep killing each other over mates. So competition was mostly channeled into safer contests: hunting skill, generosity with meat, storytelling, dancing, physical prowess displayed without direct combat. Status earned through contribution, not conquest, translated into mating opportunity. In a band where everyone depended on everyone, the men who won were, overwhelmingly, the ones who made themselves useful and likable to the whole group, not just dangerous to rivals. Puberty in ancient populations likely arrived a little later than the earliest modern averages, shaped by nutrition and energy availability, but pairing off began not long after. There was no concept of a fixed age of adulthood. Readiness was judged by physical maturity, skill, and social standing within the band, not a number on a calendar. A body capable of surviving pregnancy and a young adult capable of contributing meaningfully to the group were the real thresholds, and they arrived at different times for different individuals, judged case by people who knew each other intimately. Strip away smartphones, dating apps and wedding rings, and the underlying machinery hasn't changed at all. You still respond to symmetry and health cues without meaning to. Your nose is still quietly checking immune compatibility. Your body still carries the physical evidence of a mostly monogamous, but not perfectly faithful ancestry. The jealousy, the attraction, the subtle competition for status, all of it is the same ancient operating system, just running on modern hardware, dressed up in modern rituals that feel invented, but are really just decoration over something profoundly old. So next time you feel an inexplicable pull towards someone, a look, a laugh, a scent you can't quite place, that's not random. That's hundreds of thousands of years of ancient selection, still quietly running its calculations inside you, faster than conscious thought, and older than language itself. Your ancestors never once wrote down a rule about attraction, and yet they built, through pure survival, the exact wiring you're using right now, at this very moment, without even noticing. Which raises an uncomfortable question: how much of what feels like your choice was actually decided 100,000 years ago?